guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So here for another bit of a play around with our mass making items that we have made, and we're now doing a journal from them. So just continuing on basically in the journal that we've already started. I'm just flicking through, finding a page that I fancy working on. So I might come right here to almost the back of the book. Just going to balance that down a little bit there, so it's not casting a shadow here. Oops. Now in the last episode I pulled out a few pieces that I thought were nice colours to complement the pet book images that we're using. And again, I'm not going to recap completely what we've been doing. I will try and remember to link the previous videos or the playlist if I've created one, so that you can easily find, you know, what we've been up to. Right, having a look in here, I still really want to use this donkey, but I'm not quite sure what to marry him up with. Let me just tear him out. Got another page, I think, here. Oh, here we go. I've got this foal here, so he'd be pretty good with the donkey, wouldn't he? Let's just have a look, just check what else I've got. Oh, look at that gorgeous fawn. Oh, well, let's have a look. Let's just tear out the foal here. I mean, to be honest, all of these images are just so cute and so gorgeous that it's, you know, pretty tough deciding on any of them. I mean, it's great when they're not back to back, if that makes sense, because then obviously you can use all of them. But just a few of them are back to back, which is a bit of a shame. Right, I'll just tear this down, and then we'll decide which of our mass make pieces to go with. So if you joined me for the last episode, we pulled these bits out just as we were flicking through the box of the mass made items. So I'm just going to have a look really and see what might go quite nicely with these two. Let's have a look. What about if we use those two? Oh, decisions. That way round? Yeah, maybe like that. The only thing is, oh, that's going to be hidden completely. Might be tricky to use this piece here. Let's just have a look at what it would look like if we had a yellow with a green. Probably doesn't look too bad, actually. Weirdly, I'm not that keen the way they're both facing this way. You know, the foal and the fawn, they're both facing outwards. So let me just check whether we wouldn't like to swap them for a different animal. Weirdly, they're all looking that direction, actually, except for the fox. Oh, and the fox is back to back with these gorgeous birds, which, if I'm truthful, I prefer the birds, I think. So let me just double check again. I've got the cat. And cardinal. Oh, it's so tough sometimes just making these simple decisions, isn't it? Oh, I don't know. I mean, I love those ducks too. I mean, I could always bring the book in, obviously, and put out some other pictures, but I was hoping to just go with what I had. So let's just go with it, because you know, we might just be here all day otherwise. So there we go. Well, let's do them one at a time, and then we can always reevaluate, can't we? So Which one do we really, really love? Oh, that's another one of those, which we've already had one of those. But I guess what we could do is just paper clip this one on, and then you've got this page here then for journaling, which that might be quite nice to do that. And actually then he can be moved around the book. I think we're going to do that. So let me move the journal out of the way so it's not just casting a shadow a bit. We'll just get started on this one. So this is one of those little fold out pieces, and I'm going to glue this down obviously as a pocket. But before I do that, I'm just going to ink it up everywhere. I don't need to ink this side because this is going to be glued down, but I do need to obviously ink this, unless actually unless I put some book page in there. Oh yeah, I prefer it I think with the book page, so let's do that. I'll just pop some glue down on here. So I hope everyone's having a good day. I hope for those people who were you know, after some ideas for how to use their mass making pieces, I hope this is, you know, living up to it and giving you some ideas. I mean, obviously these are just suggestions, but hopefully there'll be something useful in here. Okay. And obviously that didn't need to be, you know, perfectly straight or anything, because I'm actually going to, it's going to be covered once it's glued round. So I'm just going to trim it here slightly, and we'll just trim it off at the side like that. Going to glue that down a bit more. Oh, it doesn't want to glue down. Oh, you know why? It's covered in ink. Covered in ink. Okay. Just do this one. Right, let me just check that I'm filming and I'm in frame. Oh, just ever so slightly paranoid about that at the moment. So, right, I'm going to ink this up now around here. Like that. Okay, and then we're just going to open it out and just a bit of ink there. Excuse me if I'm jogging the table a little bit. Okay. Trying to think what I've been up to. I went to the cinema and watched I watched a film called After the Wedding. It was a really good film. In the trailer, I hadn't actually heard of it, to be honest. I hadn't seen it kind of on trailers, but when I just looked to see what there was on at the cinema, and I thought, oh, what's that? So I watched the trailer, and it was a 12, and it looked a little bit like it was going to turn into a bit of a thriller, which I thought, well, that's very strange, as that's a 12. But it just had that, you know, you wondered where that film was going. So I was a bit intrigued. Anyway, it didn't turn into a thriller, but it was a good film. I mean, to be honest, I enjoy most films. I think I've talked about this before, but I mean, the only genre that really, or well, two really, that I'm not too keen on are probably superhero-y, you know, Actually, there's several now that I'm coming to think of it. So let me backtrack. The few genres that I'm not keen on. I don't like sci-fi at all. Yeah, really don't like sci-fi. And I don't really like fantasy, I have to say. Often fantasy is very dark visually, and I'm not that keen on the dark colours. So yeah, I'm not over keen on fantasy. What else don't I like? And I'm not probably over keen on, you know, like action. When it's just action for like action's sake, you know, like with no story really, but just tons of just silly blokey fighting. I'm not over keen on that type of thing. But I love a, you know, I mean, I love a comedy. I love anything with a bit of a good sort of story that sticks with you. Oops, that's my doorbell. Excuse me a minute. Oh, sorry about that, guys. It was just the postman asking me to take something in for my neighbour. So, right. Pop this on here. Like that. And then look, some really good films coming out now. I think I might have talked about this one already, but a film called The Good Liar. I think that's coming out soon. And again, obviously I'm filming these ahead, so it's probably been out and actually no longer even showing by the time this video goes up. But wow, that looks a really good film. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. Right, I'm going to tie this. So what I might do is just use this bit of baker's twine rather than my usual string that I love using, just because this was here on the desk and caught my eye, and I just thought actually it might be kind of fun to have the, you know, the stripe. I mean, this is just grey, so it's not anything, you know, either way really, but yeah, I quite like that. So I'm just going to glue that down. She says if she can get the glue out. Come on. It's a really nice day here. The sun is shining. It is cold, but wow, it's just beautiful out there. I love those cold, bright days. They're just really lovely, aren't they? Might pop some flowers on there. So let me just bring the journal back. Okay, and we thought we were going to have it here, didn't we? So bring those flowers in. How cute does that look? Looks lovely, doesn't it? And then we could just have like a Rachel label or something, maybe. Maybe not that one. Might not be quite right. That's quite nice like that, actually. Oh, I've got this little sort of label from my butterfly house kit. That might be better because it's perfect colour. Perfect colour for that. So let's just ink that up a bit. Yeah, it's such a nice day. I mean, although it is cold, obviously the sun is really making my room quite warm, so I'm actually getting a bit hot now. There we go. Just use my dry wet wipe. Like that. Whoops. Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, I like that. So I'm just going to pop these flowers down there. Like that. Okay. And then, right, I'm going to pop this on the page somewhere. Now, I'm wondering kind of opposite. So I'm just going to have a look at what the double page spread is going to look like, or, you know, get a feel for how it's going to look at the end. Let me just take my cardigan off because I am getting pretty warm now. Okay. better. Right, let me just have a look and see whether I've got some handmade or, you know, hand-stitched ruffles in any sort of colour that might look good. Oh, just bear with me 2 minutes. Come on. No. I did stitch a few more yesterday actually, but they're still downstairs. Stitched them last night while we were watching TV. And weirdly, I couldn't even tell you what we were watching now. I clearly was paying absolutely no attention whatsoever. I quite like the green. Let me just have another rummage. Also got one of my green sort of flowers. Let me just check I'm in frame again. Oh. You just suddenly have this horrible feeling and think, oh no, I don't think I'm in frame. Now I've got one of those button embellishments, one of my button embellishments there. That's from a different project, you know, and I didn't use it, but actually would go really nicely on this page, I think. Now I'm wondering whether I want to have anything here. I've got those gorgeous yellow flowers that Laura gifted me in my Happy Mail. Let's have a look. I mean, that's quite orangey, but let's just see. Oops. There we go. How about like that? I don't want to cause a problem when this opens, and this is going to open that way. So, dropping everything out now. Right, let's glue this down so that I'm committed on this one. So I'm just going to glue it down here. Just going to glue it on 3 sides. So here like this, over the bunting. Oh gosh, would you believe it? It's my phone. Oh, this is going to be one of those days, I think. Hold on. So let's just pop that down like that. Oh, sorry about that. It's going to be one of those days, I think. So, yeah, must apologise. Right, there we go. So I've popped that on there, and oops, I've got a pocket here, which obviously I was thrown off by the phone. So I've not really got much room now for tucking something in. So it might just be a pocket that's not really very usable after all. Oh. Don't you just hate it when you have those kinds of days? Never mind. I mean, that's kind of cute, but it would obviously bulk it out quite a lot, so I don't think I'll do that. But I could have it like this. I mean, I have to bear in mind that it's going to open that way round, but that's okay. With the ruffle coming out of the flower. I quite like that. Pop that in there. Like that. Oops. Right, just try and stick that down like that. Come on. The worst of it is, when you stop the film like that, you then have no idea how long you've been filming for. So it makes it difficult then to know when to film to. Obviously, you know, the sensible thing would be for me to actually check before I press record again. But that just does not occur to me before I come back to what I was doing. And then I'm filming and can no longer check where I was up to. So, never mind. Right, there we go. I like that. Looks cute. And then, I mean, I could finish that off with a little button. So let me just have a look and see. Excuse my arm across the screen. Just having a look in my little tin. What's this one? weird, isn't it? And I've moved my buttons now, so I'd have to stop the camera again to go and run and get the buttons. So I'm not going to do that. Well, I might come back and put a button on there later. Let's just not worry about the button for the moment. So there we go. I mean, really, this is just to give you an idea how to use your mass make. So, I mean, hopefully this is, you know, giving enough in the way of ideas. Okay, so then on the facing page, if we were to have this one, for instance, and just paper clip it on, and funnily enough, I had this paper clip, which I've ready made, which, doesn't that just go really well? I think it does anyway. So I might just clip it on with that. So let's again move the journal a little bit to one side. And we'll just decorate this up. So this is a bit like the one that we did on the first page, in the same style as that one. So we'll just ink around it. And I'm going to ink obviously the back as well, because this is just going to be paper clipped in rather than fixed on the page. And then we'll just do the inside. And across here. Okie dokie. Bit down there. Okay. So that looks nice. And then we're going to put our donkey down. So I'm just going to tear him slightly more around so he fits, you know, a bit better on there. Let's just ink this up a bit. I mean, it's quite a nice colour page. It's not too stark white, it's quite a nice sort of ivory shade, but it just makes it look a little bit better if you kind of ink it up, I think. So we can have that on there. Now I'm just wondering whether we could just pop anything else down the side or anything, because as you can see, this one's a bit too short for here. Obviously I, you know, did that by mistake during our mass making series. I can't actually remember doing it, but you guys possibly do. I'm just wondering what we could pop down the side. I mean, obviously what would be great is some more of that matching fabric, but I'm pretty sure that I won't be able to find that in a timely fashion, so I'm not going to get too caught up with that. So if we were to have this here, in fact, that's why I'd pulled that in, wasn't it? Because that button is on the matching fabric to here, which looks quite nice, doesn't it? Okay, and then what we could do, we could just have like a flower on that page somewhere. Although, perhaps we should have the flower on the book. So if we had the flower on the book and then the... Oh, decisions again. Oh. Let me weigh this page down a little bit. Got these flowers. What do these look like? I don't want to go too off at a tangent. Now, where's my scissors? Oh my goodness, now I've lost my scissors. What on earth? Of all the things to lose, I've actually lost the scissors. I mean, they're like the one thing that you can't really just go, oh, well, you know, I'll do that. Oh, they've dropped off, look. They're the one thing you can't really just go, oh, I'll just make do without them. They're sort of an essential part, aren't they? Okay, like that. And again, I mean, I'm just going to cut them down a bit. Because as I always say, you know, nobody really knows what shape that flower was meant to be, do they? So just cut that down. Like that. Okay, round. Nearly done. I know it's probably like watching paint dry, watching me cut out a flower, but essential nonetheless. Oh, that looks so cool on there, doesn't it? Although it looks quite nice on there. Sometimes you just shouldn't really try things, because then invariably you're going to really like them all, aren't you? Unless I have something on here. Oh no, not room, not room. Right, let's commit. We're going to glue this one down. And obviously these button embellishments, I did a tutorial on these really long time ago. Again, I will try and remember to link it, or link maybe my tutorials playlist. And you know, these again are just brilliant, because there's something that you can just do ahead, like the mass making, and have like a ton of them just on hand ready to use. So, you know, they're really convenient that way. I'm just having a look through to see what else I might have here. Oh no. Oh no, that didn't go, did it? Right, let's just pop him on. Just because I fear otherwise I might be here all day, to be honest. And because I've had to stop and start, I don't know how long I've been filming for now. Maybe to you guys it feels like it's been all day already. Right, let me just check that I'm filming and in frame after all that. Right. Now, in my, you know, my stamp coin folder thing, that I know that I've showed this before, got some flowers, I think, that I have ready cut out. Just wondered whether I've got any of those bright coloured ones. No, I've got everything but. Isn't that just typical? Oh, isn't that always the way? Everything but the ones that you actually do want. Oh, I have got... Well, I've got that. Maybe I could have that. Got some words. Let's have a look at those couple of things. So, oops. I'll just see if I've got anything else in here from that butterfly house kit. No, I don't think I have. No, I don't think so. Oh, that's a shame. Because I just thought then I could have those gorgeous flowers on both of those pages, but that's fine, it doesn't really matter. So could have love down there, and I could have those flowers here, which then just kind of ties the two things together. I was going to have the flower somewhere. Do you know, I don't think I can have that flower anywhere. I don't think it really fits anywhere. Let me just check whether I might prefer it like this. No. It's so annoying because I bet I have got some of those flowers ready cut out somewhere, and I just now can't find them or can't think where they are. Right. What if we do that? I quite like that. What do you guys think? So I'm going to just ink up these flowers like that. Okay. Just glue them down here. Funny enough, there was a comment the other day, and we were saying about, you know, how much you love, or, you know, how much kind of we love junk journals. And, you know, what's really nice about them is kind of they're open to interpretation, aren't they? And I thought, actually, yeah, they are. And anything kind of goes with a junk journal. You really can have any theme that you wanted. You know, you could have it, I mean, talking off sci-fi earlier, you could have a spacey junk journal if you wanted. You could have, you know, like when Patricia Viramontes did her gnomes embellishment pieces. They looked awesome. I love using the kids' books, you know, these beautiful animals. They just look gorgeous. And you could have, you know, fairy tale, you can have kind of bohemian, you can have like the vintage ladies, you can have the butterflies, the botanicals, so many different options, and there's really no boundaries. And I think that is what's really nice actually about the junk journals, is that they're almost like boundaryless. You know, they really are kind of open to interpretation, open to whatever you fancy, whatever your thing is, or even, you know, whatever your thing is on that day. Doesn't even have to be whatever your thing is, but just whatever your thing is on that day. Perhaps I'll have that like that, or I might have it like that, because then that just ties that in to the colours of that page. So even though that paperclip had been made and, you know, was finished and completed, you can still always add like the odd little thing that will just bring it in a little bit more to your project. So just by adding that, we've now got the flowers from here and that green sort of frame thing from there, and it just then brings it in. So I'm just going to use that paperclip there to clip that. Whoa, clip that onto the page, she says. Struggling to do that for some reason. I have no idea why. Oh, that's so cute. Right, I will probably call it quits for the day, because I have no idea now how long I have been filming for. So I do apologise for the interruptions, and yeah, hopefully the next time that I come on to do one of these, there will be less interruptions. So thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully you'll join me next time for more using of our mass made items. Thanks then, bye.